It did, for the most part, make all the players, including the rising stars, of course, play a little harder on both ends of the floor. I saw a little more defense, a little more shot blocking, a little more competitiveness on both ends of the floor. But that is all I'm going to give it. Because in the end, it just made me miss what used to be even more. And I'll be the first to admit it. The OGs won the championship tonight in the final game of the 3 games. Team OG, Shaq's team. Yeah, I'm the ultimate OG. You know, I'm a legend. I've been around for a long time. I started covering NBA All-Star games in the late 1970s. I've been to game after game after game, and I have loved every last minute of it until lately when I started watching these televised games from a distance in my man cave. And last year it got to 211 to 186. And the commissioner was rightly angered by it and offended by it and ashamed of it. And he said, we got to try something. We got to get desperate here. We got to reach. We got to go way outside the box until they boxed themselves in. So they tried a 4-team format with shorter games to 40. And they allowed the Rising Stars winner of its 4-game tournament on Friday night to take one of the spots tonight. And rightfully so, Draymond Green and I think LeBron James. I believe that's why LeBron sat this one out, is he was protesting what he thought was a shameful gimmick, and it was. To let these rising stars, no all-stars among them, Stephon Castle looks like he probably will be at some point for the Spurs. They didn't embarrass themselves because they're going to play hard. And they're going to play fearlessly. And that's fine. And I enjoyed watching that game because it forced the other team. I can't even remember which team played because now my mind's just a jumble because I'm worn out from watching it because it was endless. But it did force the other team to play harder. I guess it was the OG. Yeah, it was the OG's team. It was Shaq's team. They were forced to play. And they played and they did what they had to do, or they'd gone down in flames and gone down in history as the team that lost to the Rising Stars in an all-star game. But I'm with Draymond, and I think with LeBron, it's embarrassing. You put the Rising Stars on the floor with the all-stars? What? And then what embarrassed me the most was for TNT. And I love those guys. And I know all those guys. And I know Kevin Hart. And I've been on TV with Kevin Hart a bunch of times. And I've been in other situations with Kevin Hart. I've been on his show.
Look, y'all. Big J TV. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Appreciate y'all for even spending some time with me today. On this Monday morning, let's talk about it. I hate to give him the credit, but I have to give him the credit. When Skip is right, he's very right. When he's not on his BS LeBron hatred, when he's not on his cowboy D riding, and actually in recent months, he's actually been a lot more objective about the Cowboys. It's funny how losing makes that do to you. By the way, smash the like button as y'all coming in. I appreciate y'all for showing me love. When he's right, he's absolutely right. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to give Skip even more credit. The man is pretty good in his basketball analysis. When he stops being a hater and gets into, journalist mode or analyst mode, he's pretty good. And the way that he reported this, or at least reacted to it, post-game, was absolutely correct, man. The All-Star game was absolute garbage. It was absolute trash. And one of the underlying things, he talks about this in the rest of his video. I'll link the video in the description. He goes on about the actual production value in the sense that how it was presented. In other words, having Kevin Hart there to do some random, improv comedy in between ad breaks and time breaks was actually cringe, off-putting, and actually not even funny. Because when you force a moment, it actually doesn't happen. When they had some of the weird halftime shows, that was like a big rap concert. And I'm like, okay, well, why do we have Sweetie on the screen right now? Okay, she's from the Bay, okay. But why do we have E40 now? Now we have Too Short. Now we have, okay, if we're going to have a halftime performance, make it one guy. And maybe they have a medley and they make it all happen. But there was all kinds of random showing up on the screen. I'm like, okay, are they doing a halftime show for a 40-point game? Like, what are we doing? And then they had this other weird halftime show with Mr. Beast where they had this Make-A-Wish kid throwing, trying to get a 3 to win $100,000. Okay, that would make sense. But then they had Dame also shooting 3s as well. So this random kid is competing against Dame Lillard, one of the best shooters in the league, right? To score a basket. Okay. Dame has 3 chances to get the ball in. Okay. And the kid has infinite chances. Why? Because the kid shot the ball like 6 times until he made a 3. Right? And the kid beat Dame Lillard. And guess what? Guess what made this even worse? This ish went on for damn near 10 minutes. In between games. That's in between games. So you created a tournament where there was maybe 15 minutes of actual basketball that was played. 10 minutes of Kevin Hart. 20 minutes of Mr. Beast and this Make-A-Wish kid. You know what I mean? And all kinds of ads, ironically, of WNBA players, which I'm going to be honest with you. I would have probably preferred to watch a WNBA game because the W is actually kind of competitive. The women, because they're women, hate each other, right? So that's starting off on a good foot in terms of professional competition. So they are more incentivized and they're more aggressive in their style of basketball. Is it as smooth as the NBA? No. Is it as coordinated as the NBA? No. Is it? But guess what? It's probably more physical. Not even probably. It's definitely more physical. Though girls actually play defense. And they actually seem to care. Matter of fact, they care so much they were beating up on Caitlin Clark all of last season. They're going to do the same with Juju Watson when she comes in the WNBA. But let me tell you something, man. Every time I was seeing the WNBA ads and the women in sports ads, I was like, they look like way more competitive than the guys. And guess what? They are. They are. Let me repeat it one more time. They are more competitive. When you have the greatest basketball player of all time called LeBron Raymond James, right? Deciding maybe a few hours before the All-Star game not to play, right? Because of some BS injury. That's when you know your sport and your event is cooked. Your event is cooked, man. Like literally the person who is responsible for this league being as big as it is, he's saying he don't want to play. And then basically one of the great best players in the league, who I would put him top 5 right now, maybe at 5, maybe at 6, Anthony Edwards. Him, you don't even know if he's playing or not. He just doesn't announce it. And then all of a sudden in the broadcast, they tell you he ain't playing. What? Okay, he ain't playing. Okay, do they have a replacement? No, they don't. Did LaMelo come in? No, he didn't. Did, what's his name, Norman Powell get in? No, he didn't. And Norman Powell's having an amazing season. LaMelo's having an amazing season. It's because these guys don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And you as a viewing audience, imagine you buy a ticket, right, to go watch the All-Star game. You're a big fan of all these guys. You want to see all your favorite ballers. But they don't care, and they cancel and don't want to show up at last minute. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, man? My suggestion would be make it a USA versus the world type thing. One game, just make it one full game. We don't need like 3 or 4 games where they're half-assed and everything. Or I like this format, Rising Stars versus All-Stars. Bring in a bunch of young players who are way more hungry. Because the Rising Stars game versus the OGs game, I think that was the best basketball. Because the Rising Stars were trying, and it forced the OGs to try. Because the OGs didn't want to get embarrassed by 22-year-olds. And they were about to. They were about to. Right? would have been incredibly embarrassing. So it forced the older heads to actually do something that they are accustomed to doing, which is playing basketball. And you'd think multimillionaires who became millionaires by playing basketball would want to play basketball, but they don't. It is what it is. Get in the comments, what do you think of it? I thought it was absolute trash. It was slight improvements. Still garbage, though. I'm out.